it's not that my deals have been getting easier. They've been getting much bigger, and they bring a new element every time I do something.
Right.
You know, this was like the cherry on top, because once I figure out, it's not like I have to speak to these guys like I'm an Oxford professor
Right.
here. As long as I can explain my deal, explain what I'm trying to get across, and they can ask me questions and I can answer them, I'm most likely going to get someone to invest with me. Right now, I'm giving you the option. I'm giving you the option to buy it at the number you want to, as long as we can meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But if you let me do what I'm going to do,
Gets fully rented.
you can't fight me on the number.
Yep.
It's all there. It's in paper. It's in black and white.
That's
So
true.
that's also something I'm learning on these two deals. It's just like, all right, well, you don't want to give my number? No problem. I'll prove my number.
I love it. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Craig of the Flip Flop Flipper, and you are
Junior flip-flop flipper.
the Junior Flip Flop Flipper, Adon Saviero. Today, guys, we're going to talk about 5 things Adon has learned from doing 5 deals as a real estate investor. You ready?
That's what we're doing.
All right.
Okay.
What have you learned? Let's go through it deal by
So
deal.
much.
So I think it's a really important conversation. People who watch our channel, I think, want to become real estate investors,
Yeah.
and they don't know what does it take to do it. How much effort does it have to go in? And some of the conversations will be like, how do you find the money? You know, how do you get the courage to make the offer? So let's just go through them deal by deal and talk about what you learned and what it's made of you. What do you think is going to happen from here? Let's talk about deal number 1. How did you find deal number 1?
So my first deal number 1 or our first deal number 1?
Oh, great question. I was thinking your first deal number 1 when you were in college.
Okay. So my very first deal, I didn't even know it was a deal. I didn't understand what a deal was. I always had this thing in my head that people can get really rich with 3 things: either owning properties, selling food, or selling clothes. You know, 3 necessities most humankind need. And
I think nobody gets rich selling food or clothes, so it's only real estate.
it's only
guys.
real estate. I narrowed it down. That's number 1. But nothing. I was going to school. Like, I wanted to do business school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My
You
mom.
were going to school, you had some money and you needed to pay for a place to stay anyways.
Yeah.
So
So I started looking from my couch in Puerto Rico at 19, just looking like, all right, I know I can pay rent to somebody and never see that money come back and just waste it away and that's it. Or I can try to find some property that fits my budget that I have right now. And at that time, I had $25,000, or at least that's what they told me I can spend, because we were part of a Florida program where you can go to public school, public university if you pay into the program.
even if you're from Puerto Rico?
Even if you're from Puerto Rico. Just look
Wow.
at that.
How did you do
No
get to do that?
discrimination.
Weren't there Florida people there saying Puerto Rican go home?
No,
you guys,
no,
you shouldn't be able to come to school here on our dime.
When I filled it out, I said I was white with blue eyes, 6'7". You know, so they took me right off the bat.
They did.
They were gonna give me more money. I should said no.
No.
So I got that money back because I wanted to go to a private school, and instead of just wasting it, I said, all right, I have a $25,000 budget. Where can I put this money?
So you bought a property for 25 grand or less than $25,000 using that money that
Yes.
you were supposed to
And
pay for college.
online, never seen before.
Right.
Just, hey, I think I could do this. So
And now I know where you bought this condo,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a good area.
it's a great area now.
It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
But when you bought it,
that was a shit area.
this was 2008 or 9, 10 or 12.
No, 2011. No, 2011, 2012. Yeah.
So when you bought this was 2011 or 12. This was after the big crash. This
Yeah.
area got hurt in the big crash. And that's why you
Yeah, I
got
didn't
such a
know.
good deal on this condo.
And I didn't know any of that. I didn't understand any of that
Yeah.
before this. I just said, this is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And funny story, I didn't know it was a bad area until I moved in. Literally, my first night moved in, I go to lay down on the bed, and the neighbor downstairs in front decides today's a good day to pop some shots into the sky. And I hear pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, I get on the floor and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Wow.
I go to the window, which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I look and the guy's out there with his gun and I'm just like, oh shit, what did I do?
Oh my goodness.
But that was the only time that ever happened to me. The rest of the time, I guess someone called the cops on him. They got him out. But it was smooth sailing from there. I never had an issue. I never had anything crazy going on. Well, maybe once I got the door kicked in, but I think they confused somebody else's apartment.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't there. I got there. I see my cats outside. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I see my door kicked in. I'm like, okay, cool. But moving forward, that was my first deal.
It's an interesting first deal. So you buy something from your couch in Puerto Rico. I've bought things from my couch in Puerto Rico in Orlando, Florida too.
Yeah.
Not my first one, but I like that you were able to do that, that you had the fortitude at 19 years old to make a decision to be a homeowner rather than someone who was just going to go throw their money away on rent.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And if you want to get in touch with me, Robert McKenna, who's Robert's son, who is an amazing real estate investor as well, we are over in Apex. It's a school community. It's a paid school community where we do weekly master classes about different topics. So we'll hone in on, for example, we're going to talk about long-term rentals in October, right?
We're going
to talk just about long-term rentals and how you can get your long-term rental from nothing to producing income and what you do with that income. And besides all that good stuff I said, you'll have full access to Robert, myself, and McKenna to our community, which, by the way, we have already 10 people in there doing deals, moving forward, getting excited to do more. We're meeting them every week.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you there.
And then what happens? You go to school and you have the house the whole time you're living there in school. Did you live there the whole time you were in college?
Yeah. So during school, I lived there the whole time. I had a roommate. He was supposed to be paying money. He didn't.
Yeah.
Was broke. So I'm like, all right, you can stay on my couch. I just want you to finish school. And I'm going to finish school too.
Yep.
And from there, once we graduated, I started getting jobs in Orlando, like film jobs. And then from there, I decided to move to Miami. And I had another friend of mine who was much older. He was working. He's been established. He was about to move out of his apartment, and I'm like, hey, you can move into mine. I'm not gonna be here anymore. Just when I come back, that couch is mine, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked for a long time.
And you rented it out for enough money to pay your mortgage, or did you have a mortgage? You owned it cash.
I paid
you rented it out, and so you were just getting cash flow.
It's all cash flow.
Wasn't a lot of cash flow, but $500 or $600 a month you were netting.
Yeah, for that time, and if I would have understood better what I was doing, I would have tried to refinance and kept the property and all this stuff. But that's hindsight, right?
Well, and $500 a month times 6 is $6,000 a year. $6,000 a year on a $25,000 investment's a damn good investment.
Yeah, yeah, and I kept it at that rent. I never raised it. Yeah. By the time I was selling the property, that property was going for like $1,200,
right,
or a little bit more,
right,
a month.
Yep.
I was like,
and now it's probably going for $1,700 or $1,800 a month,
probably,
since you sold it a few years ago.
Yeah, and I could have kept it and all, but whatever. I didn't want to do it.
The reason I wanted to start with that first one is because when you then met me and you were going to start doing some stuff with me, because you had done that, you sold that property, and now you had a nest egg.
Yeah, and I think that was the right move. And, we'll see as we move forward. But that was the right move for me at the time, because you say all the time, you don't want to do deals where you're not living or you can't drive to.
I don't.
I'm not going to. Yeah, but I don't either.
Yeah.
If something breaks down, I got to fly back all the way to Florida. And the good thing about my tenant that was there, he didn't complain. He didn't care the AC didn't work. He didn't care any of that stuff. And I didn't know these things until I flew and stayed on the property. And I'm like, dude, why didn't you tell me that the AC's not working? Why didn't you tell me this is broken? I would have gotten this done.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's all good.
So you were learning to be a landlord and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so once I knew that I wasn't going to come back to Orlando for anything, I was like, I can't keep this property, because with that tenant, it was easy. It made my life really easy.
Yeah.
Now, if I have someone pay me much more money and has bigger expectations, and I can't, and this is before, I'm dealing with you, it's just like, how am I going to take care of these issues?
Right.
And I was like, nah, it's too much hassle.
So you just left them there.
No, well, he moved out, but I sold the property.
When did you sell the property?
We sold the property last year.
2023 then.
Yeah.
You owned it from 2012 to 2023, 11 years. You owned thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I say all the time on this channel, guys, if you hold real estate for a really long period of time, you'll hit a grand slam home run.
And if you buy it well.
If you buy it well, you do even better. So you bought it for $25,000. You sold it for
125, give or take. minus whatever commissions I gave the realtor and all that stuff. I think I
So you
cleared
sold
100.
it, you sold
I
it
cleared
for
$100,000. Yeah.
$125,000. You cleared $100,000. You did a 400% cash on cash return.
Yeah.
Plus you had it rented out for all of those years, making revenue. Awesome. Now you had a nest egg, and you and I had already started the YouTube channel when you sold this. We hadn't bought a property together yet.
Well, yes. Well, when I sold this, we did Cerro Gordo already.
We had already done Sierra Gordo.
Yeah,
when
because
you sold this?
the money I gave you for Cerro Gordo
Yeah.
was all the money I was making with the YouTube stuff.
Oh, really?
So I had Dave, and Dave would tell me every month, "Hey, you have money here. When do you want it?" And I'm like, "Dave," because I knew myself. I knew if I got the money, I was gonna spend it. I wasn't gonna use it for what I wanted. And I told Dave, "Hey, just hold my money
I
until."
told Dave the same thing. I'm like, Dave, if you give me that money, I'm going to spend it. Hang on to that for me. Keep that safe.
That's the best
Dave's
thing
very
to
good
do.
at keeping things safe for
Yes.
us, you know?
So he understood that, and then when this deal arose, it was just like, "Hey, I have $10,000 already. You have it. I want to use it in this deal."
I forgot.
And that's how it
Yeah.
is.
Okay, so let's jump to the second deal, which is the first deal we ever did together.
Please.
We'd been driving around shooting YouTube videos for a year. You've listened to me on the phone do, I don't know, dozens of deals, 50 deals maybe.
More.
And we looked at, God,
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
More than
More
a
than
couple
hundreds?
Yeah. Every day.
yeah, every day, all day long, looking at real estate, putting deals together, buying things, selling things, renting things, running hotels. And we happened to be out in Trujillo Alto. Is that what it is?
Vega Baja.
Vega Baja. We happened to be out in Vega Baja. And I think I was just like, hey, we're nearby. Let's go look at this.
And it was a property you had with Patrick.
Yeah.
You guys did a trade, right?
Yep.
Um,
So at the time, I didn't really own the property. We were holding it, kind of like Patrick did the same thing with Dave. Hey, Dave, hang on to that for me. And then one
Yeah.
day I'm going to come and ask. So we knew that Patrick had it. And I just kind of showed you and Pedro,
yeah.
here's this place. And as we left, you got very excited. That was the day, actually, and you've said this on YouTube a couple of times, where you were learning about what's a cap rate and what's it mean cash on cash return. And we were
Yeah.
going through these set of questions, you and Pedro and I, and you were like, Robert, this is the deal that I want to do. And I'm like, well, slow down. He's like, I'll give the $10,000 to Patrick. I'm
Right
like,
now, right
slow
now."
down. I'll call Patrick. I'll see what we can get it for. And so we set it up. We bought it for $200,000.
Yeah.
And we were going to renovate it to become a hotel.
Yes. It was supposed to be a seven unit guest house.
Yeah.
And I was learning about Act 60 and all that stuff at the time. And really what captured me is seeing where the ocean was compared to this building.
Yeah.
It was just like, it makes so much sense to do this here. You walk out in the water, and it
Yeah.
was just like, why has nobody done this here?
Yeah.
And so that's what captured me, really. It was like, I seen this all my life. You know, my grandparents own a building down the street from a beach. It's been rented all its life. It's right there.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know that if you build it up nice enough, you're going to be able to rent it to people that want to go to
Yes.
the beach. It's a beautiful beach.
yeah. Even if
It's
you do
going
long
to be a
term.
beautiful property.
Yep.
And we actually ended up wholesaling it or double closing it. I don't remember. We bought it from Patrick. We sold it to the next guy.
Yeah.
And Pedro, who was in the car with us that day, he was a wholesaler from
You made
the
commission.
States. So we decided, because we sold it for a lot of money, 300,000+. Bought it for $200,000.
325 or
325.
350, something like
I
that.
think it was 350, and Pedro made 25.
Yeah, he made 25.
Okay, so Adon's first deal, we made $125,000.
Yeah.
And we did it with seller financing. So not only did you sell your first one in Florida and lose that income, but on the next deal you replaced that income, and
Yeah.
we've still been getting that for the last year or so.
Yes.
And now the guy who bought it from us has turned it into a little guest house hotel, and he's got something that's probably worth $2.5 million, and we're in first mortgage position on it, and he's paying us a pretty nice interest rate, but eventually he's going to pay us off because.
Yeah, no, and the reason I didn't take it to fruition, it was just it seemed too daunting at the moment.
Yeah, it was.
I'd never done a
big
renovation. The biggest thing I ever done to that moment was put LVP at the Orlando property.
Right.
Hire Home Depot, which they do that over there. They don't do that here.
Yeah.
But in Home Depot in the States, you can hire the same Home Depot workers to come and put the floor on
Luxury
your,
vinyl plank down.
and that's what I had. And that's the biggest thing I ever done. I never even painted the place.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, this seems a little out of my scope for now. So when you came up with the deal, like, hey, I think we could sell this for much more money. You want
Yeah.
to do this? And I'm like, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
I want to do that. I love this deal, but
Making
I
money
can't
is
do this.
good.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do this because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So moving on, deal number 3 was
San Ignacio.
Ignacio.
Wow. So you just go from like, big deal to bigger deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
So San Ignacio's, for me, one of the largest renovations that I've ever been a part of. Far and away the largest renovation on a single family house that we've ever even dreamt of doing. We found it. We were in the neighborhood for another reason.
So
And
you
I'm
call me
forgetting-
one day and you're like, hey, let's go shoot this $10 million teardown in
Yeah.
this high-end neighborhood. And I'm like, what's a $10 million teardown? It's a
I'm
house
like,
they,
I don't know. We're
a
gonna
house
go
they
find
want to
out.
sell me for $10 million and tear it down and make a new house. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. All right. Yes, I do want to go see that.
Yeah, and the place was a mall. I mean, it was huge.
It was 3 floors. So it's like entrance, then you go down a level, and then there's the pool. It was like ridiculous. But so we walk in, I'm like, what do you think? I'm like, I think it needs $1 million
or
more just to get it back in working order. And I'm like, well, I guess this is not a deal. He's like,
Yeah.
no. Then they showed us another one in front of it for $5 million or something like that. And it's like, or $1 million less. So like, this one's for 9 though.
Yeah.
And
It was
it's still the
nuts.
same thing. So he's made it a habit in me that when we get into these closed communities, drive around the whole community and call on every sign that you see.
Yeah.
So we drove around the whole community. The whole community is amazing. You see all these big houses. You could tell there's money there.
Yeah, there's $25 million houses in the
Easy.
neighborhood. There's lots of $2 and $3 million and $5 million properties, and then there were some other things that are $500,000, $600,000, $700,000,
And that's where we were getting to. We're about to exit the urbanization
Yep.
and look down, and we see a little vacant house, no windows, no doors, just falling apart in this little roundabout standalone plot. You look at the power pole, and all the
25 feet up.
all the way at the top of the power pole. By the way, it wasn't like, hey, I could see it right here.
Yeah.
It says for sale, and you're like, maybe it's for that house. We call that number. Turns out he's done deals with the people on the other side of the line, and I think by the end of that week or two, we had it under contract.
Yeah.
So-
They said, I think when we called, they were like, yeah, we're asking $450,000 for that house.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, that's the best deal that we've seen
Yeah.
here. I mean, looked at two $10 million
Comparing
houses
to
and
10
we're
million,
like,
yeah.
this could be a deal. And we ended up negotiating it down to right around $300,000, $320,000, $325,000. It was a 4-family house. You guys, we've got a lot of content. I do a bunch of shorts
The
about it. I call it the
McMansion.
McMansion and McMansion updates. I have a lot of fun with it because it is such a big renovation. So you can check out that other content. But it was a 4-family house, and when we first bought it, we were thinking that we would turn it or keep it as a 4-family house and renovate it as sort of high-end, long-term rental stuff.
Yeah.
And someone came up with the idea of why don't we turn it into a single-family house, which we've done a lot of single-family to multifamily renovations in the years that have passed, but we've never done a big multifamily into a single-family before.
And it was a big multifamily. It was 4 big units
Yeah.
everywhere.
I mean, the place is
Man.
still about 5,000 or 5,500 square feet, and we chopped off a massive part of the left side of the house because it was falling, had some settlement issues and stuff. So we took away probably 1,000 square feet or more.
Yeah, that was a whole balcony out there.
There was a whole balcony
It was
and
really
underneath.
nice.
Yeah.
It was like a carport / balcony.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just being at the right place at the right time.
So we're supposed to be talking about the lessons that we learned, I guess. So that's what you'd say is that's the right place at the right time, or,
Yeah.
or look at everything.
And 100% look at everything, and looking at everything gives you the confidence when you see things like that to be like, that without a doubt is a deal.
Yeah.
Because we went to look at that $10 million tear down, and I already been riding around with you for a year and seeing properties left and right and getting prices. I was like, dude, that is a deal right there.
They become so clear. If all you do is just look at everything that's in your area, there are going to be outliers. And when you see the outliers and you've taken the time to get to know your buy box or your area where you're going to buy real estate, you're going to recognize what a good deal looks like, even when you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like we knew, hey, at $450,000, that's probably worth buying. And it's this big, ugly 4-family house, and we don't know what to do with it, but it was still worth buying. And so we negotiated on it, and we got it at a really good price. And now we're renovating it into the McMansion.
Yeah.
And we're going to sell it for $2.5 million. And, we're going to have $1 million in it. So that's why it's the biggest renovation we've ever done on a single family house.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
That's-
And that was gonna be the flip that I thought I was gonna work, like be the project manager and do all this stuff. And after doing Santa Rita, I feel more confident doing projects.
Yeah.
But it still was daunting because once the decision was made to make it a mansion, I was like, oh shit,
This is a big
what
job.
are we gonna do here?
This was a lot of moving parts. Yeah.
Yes.
So we hired a project manager.
Yeah.
And a good GC to get started with
an
it.
architect.
Now we're architect. Now we're on our second GC, but it's coming out really good, and it's going to be just a beautiful, beautiful house. So you talked about it. Kind of the next one is Santa Rita. That's
Yes.
deal number 4.
So just to clarify, number 1 is jump in with both feet, even if you don't know what you're doing.
All right.
If you know that's what you want, that's what you want. Number 2, also jump in with both feet, but knowing how to pivot, because that's where we made the money. Knowing, hey, we could do this deal, or we can make some money now and have someone else just complete their vision of what they want.
Someone asked me earlier today, actually, someone from our Apex community who we took to the foreclosure sale.
Okay.
Michelle was asking,
Yeah.
why do you flip these houses? Why do you flip some houses and why do you keep other houses? Well, here's a good indicator on why we flipped this one. It's because we were making a ton of money and we didn't have to do any work. I mean, this was pretty easy. It was easy to say yes to the offer that we got. It was easy to pass that on to someone else. Had we kept it, we would have made more money.
Yeah.
And that's a nice position to be in. That's what I really like
Would have
about
been a nice
Puerto
place
Rico.
to go visit too.
It would have been a nice place to go visit. It would have been a nice place to get tourism tax credits. I mean, all of the stuff that we love to do, it would have worked for that. But it was Adon's first deal, and I really think that it's important to take wins. So when we had the opportunity to take a win, we just took it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, Santa Rita was where I truly, truly, truly got to negotiate with sellers, try to find their pain points, and get them to agree to terms that were favorable for us.
Yeah.
To get us to do the deal. So we bought the property for $215, and the seller is a 90-year-old man who didn't just retire, but he's been living off retirement from Aqueductos.
Yeah.
And that year is where they were threatening of taking away their pensions. And he was scared of losing his pension because it's not only the 90-year-old man, it's also his wife, who is also an elderly woman.
Yep.
And he's like, how am I going to be able to provide? Imagine you're 90 years old and you're still worried how you're going to provide for your family. And the house was massive. So I was able to reach a deal with him being like, all right, what is it that you receive monthly right now? Hey, I receive $5,000 a month. Okay. If you can agree to $5,000 payments every month for the next year, and then a balloon payment at the end of it, can we do this deal?
Yep.
And he was worried, no, because I have some debts. And I'm like, what if we just clear out your debts and all the money you're collecting is just yours?
Yep.
And he's like, okay.
And you negotiated that deal pretty much on your own.
Yeah.
And it was you negotiating as a new real estate investor with a local guy who's ready to retire and go on to, I guess, a home to live with his daughter.
He was moving in with his daughter because they were getting complicated.
But what was important to him and what was important about how you structured this deal was it would have been nice for them to sell it and get all cash.
Yeah.
But they wanted $250. We wanted to pay $175.
Yeah.
We settled at $215, and the way that we were able to settle at the $215 rather than trying to have to squeeze every dollar out of it was we said, hey, we're not going to give you half the money. We're going to do it at $5,000 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically he gave us a 0% interest loan for a year.
Yep.
And then, by the way, as we got closer to the end of the balloon, or as we got closer to the balloon, we renegotiated and we started paying some interest. And I think we're on our last payment now.
we didn't add interest. We
We
brought up our
started
payments.
we started paying interest on the money at that point. Because we went from 5,000 to 6,000 or something like that.
So I talked to the representative. It's not the daughter. It's an uncle or something like that.
Yeah.
When we were coming up on the year, I said, look, if we bring up the payments to 6,000 something, I don't remember right now. Are we okay? Just keep going with our payments.
Yeah.
For
another 6 months. Or
I
something.
want you guys to get paid. We're not trying to
Yep.
avoid it. Just know that this is happening.
Yep.
And things come up, and that's the other side of this. But just being able to talk to people and negotiate and understand, just open my mind to be like, all right, I can do this with anybody.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be scared to, what do you want? What do I want? How can we meet in the middle? And let's get it done.
Right.
And that was one big takeaway from that. The next big takeaway was doing a 5-unit renovation that I was like, oh, it's going to take 3 months. And really, it's not that. He's an optimist, and he puts it in my head. Oh, this shouldn't take you more than 3-6 months.
This is easy.
This is easy. You can do it. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And when 3 months passed, and I'm like, man, we are nowhere close of getting this done. And 6 months passed, and we're nowhere close to getting done. It got to a point where I'm like, I don't think we're ever gonna finish this thing.
We did finish it. It looks beautiful.
We finished it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, officially, done. And there's little things here and there we could touch up, and I do want to do that later. But if we get it sold, I don't care. But that was the biggest thing, and learning that if you have the clear vision, it doesn't matter how many contractors you go through, as long as you know where you want the things, as long as you know what you're doing, and
yeah, you guys, hopefully you'll see it here, what the rendering looked like when we started out versus what we finished this product with. Looks like the rendering to me, guys. It came out really, really good. Adon did this renovation really on his own. I would come and show up to the house, and he would ask questions. I would try to stay in the car where it was air conditioned. Maybe I would walk through it and do a short video that took me 60 seconds. But mostly, I never spoke to any of the contractors on this property. So I didn't hire them. I didn't fire them. I was with you, and we talked about it, and we strategized and stuff. But you handled it from start to finish, the whole thing. For me, there's more value in that. As someone who wants to partner with you on real estate for a long, long time, you getting through that, I think at some point, Dave and we talked about, we could bring Lewis in, we could finish the project. Okay, but what's that do to Adon, and what's he learned from that, right? So
nothing.
This is your mentor kicking you into the deep end of the pool to teach you to swim. It's like, boom, get in there, go rehab that thing. And yeah, I hear you're having problems. Hire someone else. I mean,
get a tissue, wipe it off, and go.
Let's go. Yeah, that guy, he's no good. He's not coming back. Don't let him on the job site. Get someone new. Hire someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was really like that. He walk in, he's like,
when are we
looks
gonna
great.
finish?
When are we finishing?
finish?
And then he
Looks
walks
great.
out and sits in the AC and calls me. He's like, look, I'll talk to you from the car. It's really nice
hot.
and cool in here. So, but it really was helpful. And the biggest thing is, like, I do appreciate you guys didn't just take over the project, because I didn't want that either.
Yeah.
I wanted to finish it. I knew it was struggling, but I wanted to get it done one way or the other. But what helped also is I'm able to fall back on you guys' on your knowledge. Hey, I would call Dave, what does it cost to lay floor? What have you guys been paying over the years? Oh, we've been paying this. So I'm like, all right, then I think I'm getting a deal or not. These guys are trying to take
this sounds
advantage
like a
of
good
me.
price. This isn't a good price.
Hey, I got 3 contractors. 3 contractors are almost to the dollar on the same price. All right, then let's just go with the best one we like. All right, and those things really help me move forward and keep progressing, because if not, then I would be and not that it didn't happen, but like consistently self-doubting that am I doing this wrong? Am I not getting the money?
Yeah.
I'm paying this guy too much. Oh, this guy's going too slow. I was able to push through that.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for another one. Like, that's what I want.
Well, and now you know how to renovate a house.
Yeah.
Now you know what to look for and what it's supposed to look like at the end, what it's supposed to cost along the way.
Yeah.
You've done the whole entire project. And we're not talking about a $20,000 renovation. We're talking about a $250,000 renovation, right? This was a massive rebuild of a massive house.
Electricity,
It's maybe the
plumbing,
second
windows,
biggest
doors.
renovation we've done, although it's not single family, because it is a multifamily. But
Yeah.
it's still a really, really big renovation on housing. And so you got that done, and really did a phenomenal job. So what's deal number 5?
The nineplex.
Yeah. Okay.
Calle Añasco.
Calle Añasco.
So the nineplex was a really cool deal. First off, because one day I'm scrolling through Facebook and I look at Marketplace and I see that there's this property selling for $750,000.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, wow, nine units in Rio Piedras. Oh, wow. And I looked at the photos. I'm like, this place is destroyed, though. Like, it's really bad. And one day, and I didn't even bring it up to you. It didn't look like a deal. So I'm like, you come to me and you're like, hey, Alex thinks I can get this place for $350 or something like that, or $400 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was $400. He thinks we can get it for $400. Should we look at it?
And you show me a photo, and I'm like, it's like, oh, I saw this building. They wanted $750. He says we could do that. We need to go see it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So we go see it, and it's 2 buildings. One's a 4-unit and one's a 5-unit. And then looking at the 4-unit, it's really not in bad shape.
Yeah, it's pretty easy renovation.
It's a totally easy renovation. The bathroom got done, new kitchens, sealed roof, some fans.
Yep.
We kept most of the windows that were operating and good.
Yeah, we replaced the front-facing, the forward-facing windows so that the house has a better curb appeal.
Yes.
We painted it so that the house looks way freaking better.
Yeah, they had this
did a lot of cement
gray
work and stuff, but it was a $50,000 renovation.
Yes.
So it was pretty easy in standards of whether you're doing $1 million renovation or a $250,000 renovation. A $50,000 renovation is pretty easy.
Yeah. No, it really was, and that deal was eye-opening because once I'm like, dude, we need to do this deal, and you said, yes, but you need to go find the money.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, you see how I keep pushing more things off on him. And
he's like, you got to go find the money. I'm like, oh, I've never done that before. Because the first 3 deals that I done with him, he's like, he really helped in that portion. Like, that's, if you don't know this guy, he's really good at finding the money. Like, I seen him call people in a matter of 5 minutes, and he has $300,000 being wired to him.
Yeah.
Like that.
But you're going to be really good at finding the money, too.
Yeah. And that's what this helped with, was finding the money, because it forced me to make a pro forma and call 100 people.
And just
call
ask
everybody.
them. Just go and say, hey, who'd you call today? Well, did you think about calling this person?
Yes.
Hey, we had coffee with this guy yesterday. He said he's a doctor. Call that guy.
Yeah.
It was
and it was like that. And I would call them, explain, hey, I have a deal. It's 9 units. I think, this could be, it could be worth $900,000 or more. If we keep it long term, these are the rents. And what I understood is a lot of people were interested in the long term stuff, but I think they just didn't want to go for it. People that want to invest in long term want something that's already running for the most part. It's what I'm understanding. And I don't know what's your experience with that. And I know it's different for you because you build the long term. You fix it up, you put it where you want, and then you rent it out.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm seeing is like those more passive investors that have the money, that's what they want. So I called 100 people. I narrowed it down to like 5.
By the way, I don't understand why people want to have the finished product at the highest price possible, as opposed to buying at the lowest price and doing the value add, building it out the way that you want it, and backing into your cash flow. I struggle with that mindset. I'm usually never going to be, or I'm almost never going to be the guy who buys something at full retail on a 8 cap, because I'd rather buy the thing at, we ended up buying this thing at like 3 1/4. We negotiated it from $750 down to 3 1/4, and in the end of the day, we got the money from a guy we've done deals with.
Yeah,
the guy that we've both done deals with.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why, and I think you're right. I don't understand why so many people want to invest in the really nice, pretty stuff as opposed to invest in the value add stuff. So tell me in the comments, are you a guy that wants to buy the stuff at 8 cap and have life easy and never have to do the heavy lifting, or are you like Adon and I and you're willing to just
you just said
get it done?
I think about it like this. If you're a doctor that's investing money and real estate's not your dream, it's just it's a tax vehicle. It's somewhere where you
It's a
can
cash
produce
flow
money.
play.
You know, you can do all this stuff. Then you do not want to go through the headache of having to manage now 8 contractors to get one job done.
Yeah.
They don't want that. They want to get into something. Hey, I don't want to have to worry about the plumbing. I don't have to worry about electricity. It's already renting, and I can buy it for this, and I can park my money here for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And I understand that side of it.
Yeah.
You know, but people like beginning real estate investors like me and that never done a deal, you should be looking for this and trying to do these type of deals.
These are the deals where you can make the
Yes.
money. It's nice to have that 8 cap, make 8% on your money. And if you've got a lot of money, great, that's a good way to invest. But if
Yeah.
you're trying to build something, if you're trying to become an entrepreneur, someone with financial freedom who didn't have some, trying to quit your job, you need to do this value add stuff.
Yeah.
There's a million different ways. One of the things I like about real estate investing is that there's a ton of different paths that will get you to the right destination. For us, we've always chosen kind of the bumpy road, the dirt road, turning it into the 3-lane highway. We want to do the value add.
Yeah, no, and that's what I noticed with just doing deals with you. It's not that my deals have been getting easier. They've been getting much bigger, and they bring a new element every time I do something.
Right.
You know, and this was like the cherry on top, because once I figure out, it's not like I have to speak to these guys like I'm an Oxford professor
Right.
here. As long as I can explain my deal, explain what I'm trying to get across, and they can ask me questions and I can answer them, I am most likely going to get someone to invest with me.
Yep.
Keeping it simple and keeping it, to plain English just made it the world.
This is key, right?
And pivoting.
Yeah.
And pivoting, because the whole time I was selling it as a long-term, no one was interested. Everybody say, yes, I like it. So we narrowed it down to 5 people. Out of those 4, no one completed. And the one guy, he asked me to revise the thing 20 times. He said, what about this? Can you add this? And I did it.
Don was giving a pro forma, and he
Yeah.
was trying to convince several people to invest, and Andy kept
Yes.
asking him for revisions.
And
Well, what if it was this? What if it was a half long-term and a half short-term
Yep.
rental? What if it was all long-term rental? What if it was all Airbnb rental?
yes.
And Andy never said yes until we said, what if we just do it as a flip?
Yes. What if it's just a flip, Andy? Oh, I like that. Let's do that. And I'm like, so it's a yes? Yeah, I'll send you the wire instructions
Yeah,
this week. And
I'll
I'm
send
just
the
like,
money tomorrow is basically.
I sit back and I'm like, oh my God. Wow, what a mental exercise. But it was great, because it's just like, all right, well, maybe 100 people told me no to this idea. And it's not that it's a bad idea. It's just not what they're looking for. It's not the product they want.
Right.
But once you realize, all right, if I change the product,
And one thing that I would say that is nice, that there are people out there that want to invest in the 8 cap stuff, is that when we build it, now we can sell it to someone who wants to do that. And
Yeah.
we've made a tremendous amount of spread. We force the equity, we call it. We like that. So I don't want to discourage people from buying those things, because
Yeah.
we want to sell them
yeah.
sometimes. Most of the time we want to hold on to them for a long time, and then we'll
Well,
sell them down the road.
right now, and you say, we finished Santa Rita, the 9plex is complete, 4 units in the 9plex are completed. And I think it's moving slow to sell, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's only been 10 days, so you got to relax. But
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, fine. While it's selling, I'm going to get them fully rented, get cash flow.
Yep.
And then once someone finally comes and says, wow, you're making this amount of money here,
Yeah.
you can't dispute the number I'm going to ask for.
Right.
Because right now I'm giving you the option. I'm giving you the option to buy it at the number you want to, as long as we can meet somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
But if you let me do what I'm going to do,
It gets fully rented.
you can't fight me on the number.
Yep.
It's all there. It's in paper. It's in black and white.
That's
So,
true.
That's
true.
That's also something I'm learning on these 2 deals. It's just like, all right, well,
Yeah.
you don't want to give my number? No problem. I'll prove my number.
I love it. Hey, so guys, leave a comment here. What do you think of Adon's story and these 5 deals that he's done? Would you invest with Adon? I know that for me, I'm going to be investing with Adon, probably for the rest of my life. But I plan to invest with Adon and some other young people that we've kind of mentored. This is a way that we think we can continue to do more deals. We like to partner with people. So if you would like to partner with Adon, leave a comment.
And if you want to get in touch with me, Robert McKenna, who's Robert's son, who is an amazing real estate investor as well, We are over in Apex. It's a school community. It's a paid school community where we do weekly master classes about different topics. So we'll hone in on, for example, we're going to talk about long-term rentals in October, right?
We're gonna
So we're gonna talk just about long-term rentals and how you can get your long-term rental from nothing to producing income and what you do with that income. And besides all that good stuff I said, you'll have full access to Robert, myself, and McKenna to our community, which, by the way, we have already 10 people in there doing deals, moving forward, getting excited to do more. You know, we're meeting them every week.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you there.
Everything
Join
we
us.
do, guys, is to encourage people to do more real estate investing. We want to see you become a real estate investor. That's why we've done this YouTube channel. That's why we've done the things that we do inside of Apex in those communities. It's why we put on master classes. We expand our business through partnership as well. So you can become a real estate investor. You can join a community where you can network with people, that you can learn together, do deals together, maybe even do deals with us. Guys, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like this one as well.
Yes. Like it. Join Apex. Stop wasting time. Start becoming a real estate investor.
If you want to be a real estate investor, you're in the right place.